Hi and welcome to the Buddha Pick podcast. My name is Ida and this is a podcast about knitting. I'm also going to talk a little bit about my yarn, but I'm going to do that at the end, so if you're not interested you can just turn it off. I have a finished object to show you, and that is a top from Gregoria Fibers. I'm sorry about I have a problem with the focus on this camera. I don't know, I'm trying different settings every time and it doesn't really seem to work that well. I'm just trying to keep my head at the same spot and hopefully it's gonna be okay, but I'm sorry if it's just sort of moving around too much with the focus. But anyway, I finished a top by Gregoria Fiber. I was working away on it because I wanted to wear it for Fiberfolk in Roskilde. I did not end up wearing it at all. I didn't wear any knitwear. It was just a very hot weekend and I honestly I was thinking about other things that what I was wearing, all my knitwear basically. But it's done and I am hoping to wear it for Fanø this weekend. It's coming up in 4 days time. It is very wrinkly. I have blocked it and then it's just been laying and it's gotten all wrinkly again. But this is the Ingrid top by Gregoria Fibers. It is just a quite simple top-down pattern. I did talk about some little issues, I would say, in just the way the pattern is written, or I felt like there were certain things that could have been more clear. So it wasn't a problem for me, but I've been knitting for a while. I think if you are a new knitter, I would not recommend you starting out with this one. Do something else so you kind of get used to the construction of a top or a sweater, and then you're gonna be fine knitting this one. But yeah, it's knitted top down and it has this very simple eyelet pattern all the way down, like eyelet stripes almost. And then you pick up for the armhole on either side. It's just a very simple stockinette stitch armhole and you bind off. It's quite pretty. And then you have the folded over neckline, and you can see my neckline is flaring out like this. So I am gonna add a piece of elastic inside the fold here to just keep it more nice and straight. I don't want to not unravel, but I sewed it down and I don't want to have to pick that all up and redo it. I also don't think I sewed it down the way that she recommends in the pattern, so that may be why, but I'm pretty sure that with that elastic band in here it's going to be absolutely fine and you're not going to notice that. I have tried it on and it fits really well, so I am really happy about it, and I hope we are leaving for Fanø tomorrow and we have a ton of things to do before we leave. It's just Anton and I, and Anton is my son who is 4, so he's not like he's helping me, but we have a lot of things to just get ready and pack and all that. So I don't know if I am going to be able to do it, but maybe I'll just bring some elastic with me and I can do it while we get there. You'll see. Yeah, I also have to get all the yarn ready, and yeah, there's a lot of things. The yarn that I've used is also a Gregoria Fiber yarn, and it's 7-8 years old, and it's a DK weight yarn. I can't remember, there's some yak in here. It's quite heavy. So I know there's some yak, maybe there's some silk, I think maybe some silk, and then some superwash merino. And I had 3 skeins, which was enough for this project, and I'm very, very happy with it. So I just need to get the hem or the neckline finished so I actually can get to wear it a bit. Yeah, so that was the Ingrid top. Then I have been working on quite a lot of smaller projects that are not finished, but since I was going to Fanø with the yarn here, I felt like I needed to have at least something knitted up in the yarn that I'm selling. And at first I thought I was just gonna do some gauge swatches just to knit up a little piece of the yarn so people could feel it and see it how it is when it's knit up. But then I thought, you know, I might as well just do very tiny little projects, and then I can actually use them afterwards instead. So that's what I'm working on. I'm not done. We'll see if I get that done. I don't think so, but I got this one done, and that is a neck warmer for Anton or Esther or me, whoever. I actually like wearing these as well. It's supposed to be for Esther, but who knows if she'll wear it or not. If not, then I'm just gonna give it to Anton. I still haven't woven in the ends, but this is on my silk merino. It's a non-wool yarn, so it's 50% silk, 50% merino. It's very, very soft and just lovely. Also drapey, as you can see. And this is the Raya or Raja neck from Line Holm Samsø. It's from her book called Børnestrik. I think it's only available in Danish. Still maybe in Norwegian too. And I've done the pattern in wrong. I was supposed to do, you do like 2 rounds of a rib, and then you do a few rounds of stockinette stitch, and then do ribbing again. And you're supposed to alternate the rib sections, which I didn't do. So it's fine, it just doesn't look exactly what the pattern looks like. But I'm fine with that. I just wanted, you know, to knit something up that people could see and touch. I still have a lot of yarn left. And I'm holding it double to get gauge for this pattern. It's a 21 stitch pattern, so, and this is a fingering weight yarn. So that is a little something that I'm gonna be bringing with me to Fanø, and then gonna be using for Anton afterwards. Then I am also working on a headband. This is the Jew headband, or Joe, I think it's Jew headband by November Knits, which is essentially just a knitted cowl, kind of like this. And then you fold it in half and sew it together, and you have a neckband, or headband. So it's just a very simple, very, very simple pattern. I mean, you probably wouldn't even need a pattern to do this, but I just like, sometimes it's nice just to buy it because you don't have to figure out the whole the measurements thing and figuring out how many stitches you need to cast on. So I had the pattern. I've had the pattern for a few years. So this is kind of the length that it's gonna be when it's seamed up. And the yarn again is a yarn that I am bringing to Fanø. I have the yarn. Oh, it's here. So I'm using a 100% Peruvian Highland wool, and I'm using 2 strands of that, which is like the pinky color, and then I'm using a Surrey alpaca for like the color dots you can see. So here it is. This is the yarn I'm using for getting this fabric. So this is the Peruvian Highland wool, and this is the Surrey alpaca, and this is a lace weight. So there you go. So I'm using this instead of a silk mohair. Yeah. So it's a fun, cute little headband. I don't know if I'm gonna wear it or if Esther's gonna wear it, or who knows. But it's it was actually quite fun to knit, I think, because of the colors of this yarn. So I also need to seam this, and I'm probably not gonna block it, but I'm gonna seam it before I bring it with me. The next thing that this is a swatch, because I have bought the Rosy pattern by Line Holm Samsø, Rosy sweater pattern, which is just a beautiful, beautiful sweater. I think we're gonna see a lot of Rosy sweaters, the coming ones, on Instagram, for good reason, because it's a pretty pattern. But I was thinking about knitting that pattern with hand-dyed yarn, but I didn't want the main color to be hand-dyed yarn, just because sometimes it's nice to be able to not, or to be able to use some of the single skeins that you have, or maybe you just want to buy a few skeins from a hand dyer. Basically, this is going to get way too complicated. I wanted to knit the rosy sweater with hand-dyed yarn, but I didn't want to pay the full price. I didn't want the full sweater to be a hand-dyed yarn sweater, because that can be very expensive. So I thought that the contrast color could be something of, like, for me, hand-dyed yarn. And I actually ended up using these two, holding these two together, which again is the Peruvian Highland wool and the Surrey alpaca, holding them together. And then, so that was the contrast color. And then having this, which is just a 100% wool from Yatagan, Lima. And I've used this before for sweaters, and I really like this. And it's a very affordable yarn. So I thought this way, if you were not able to buy hand-dyed yarn for a full sweater, this could be a way that you could get a bit of that hand-dyed, but still save some money with just buying a generic yarn from a wool supplier or yarn supplier. I guess that's what I'm trying to say earlier on. So that's what I've been doing, and I did a swatch for it. And I thought this would be really, really cool. I had a very clear vision in my head, and it didn't quite go as I imagined. So this is the swatch. As you can see it here, I don't even know. Holding this. And it's okay. I think it looked cooler in my head. And maybe it's because I haven't knit. So you're actually supposed to have a row of roses down here as well. So it's a wider border of roses, I guess. But I just did that run just to see what it looked like. And I am not sure about it. I'm not sure about it. So I'm considering still doing hand-dyed yarn, but maybe just with a yarn that is less colorful or less busy than this one. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna bring this swatch with me as well. When I was casting on, I thought, okay, I'm gonna be able to knit at least the yoke and the color work, and I can bring that to Fanø. And this is as far as I got, so it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, what else? I have my Igyo pattern. Silk Moon, I think it's called. I have not done a whole lot of progress on this one, just because I've been knitting all the other things and dyeing yarn and organizing Fanø. But here it is. I think I've probably done a few rounds since the last time I showed it to you. I'm not gonna show you or talk too much about it. I'm using a Knit We Do yarn, and also a yarn that I have from a Danish yarn breeder who's not doing that anymore. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about it another time, because really I haven't really done a whole lot on this one, and I'm also a little bit busy. I don't know if you can feel that. Just we have Fanø, like I said, we are leaving, Anton and I are leaving tomorrow, and Jakob is not gonna be there until Friday evening, and we open up on Friday morning. So it's just gonna be Anton and me, my parents and my aunt, and we are gonna be fine. We're gonna be able to get there and get everything ready, but it's always stressful up to these kind of events, to be honest. Very stressful. So yeah, and this time I also have my yarn that I'm going to be bringing and selling there, so there's a whole nother level of stuff that needs to be taken care of. And I am I've dyed all the yarn. I've just have the last bit in the oven right now, which is not going to be ready or not going to be dry, but I'm going to dry it when we get there. And then we have to do labels and everything, and I also have to figure out what to bring, if I need to bring anything for the yarn besides all the things that we need to bring for Fiber Folk. Fanø Fiber Festival is what we call it. Yeah. So lots of things going on, and I apologize if I am rushing a bit, but just to explain why that is. I have one last thing that I really hope that I can cast on before Thursday. Yeah, so this book or magazine, Lane magazine, the front sweater on here, which is called the Ike sweater, as far as I remember, I want to knit that up in the Surrey alpaca, and this is the yarn that I'm gonna knit it in, or the colorway that I'm gonna knit it in. None of the yarn has a colorway name, so you can see here it is, and there's some bits of brownish golden colors in here, and then mostly just a soft pink color. And sorry, have fluff in my mouth. I'm gonna see the name of the pattern here. Here we go. Yeah, Ike sweater. There we go. This is knit on a very loose gauge. I think it is knit on 12 stitch gauge, and you're holding a, I think it's knit with, it's basically a fingering weight yarn. I'm holding this together, and 2 skeins should be enough, which I don't know, but I'm gonna have to double check, I think, because it seems like very little, but then again, it is a very loose gauge, so maybe it is enough. I don't know. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I'm gonna cast that on, and obviously not finish it at all for the festival, but hopefully I can just have maybe just the yoke, or not even the yoke, just the neckline, something that people can kind of touch and feel the yarn, because I don't have anything that is knitted up with the Surrey alpaca on its own. So I thought that would be nice, since I want to knit it anyways. So yeah, 2 skeins should be enough for the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sizes. Two skeins should be enough. So that's something that I'm hoping to be able to cast on. I'm gonna have to wind the yarn before we leave, so we don't have to do that without a yarn winder when we get there. Okay, so Fanø, I have the yarn here, and I'm just gonna talk about it. Oh, this mark right here is just because I've had a mask on while dyeing, and it's apparently still there. So if you were wondering, I just saw that. But I'm gonna talk a bit about the yarn. I have dyed, I don't have that much yarn compared to what I'm expecting all the other vendors there are going to have, just because it takes the time to. Okay, I'm just gonna find the yarn and then I'm gonna talk. This is not all the yarn, but it is most of the yarn that I'm bringing. And I'm gonna talk a bit, and I'm gonna show the yarn to you at the same time, otherwise I think it's gonna take a lot of time. So the first yarns that I'm gonna show is the Peruvian Highland wool, and they come in 50 gram skeins. So I thought that would be nice if you wanted to use it for color work or things like that. And then of course, if you wanted to knit a sweater, you just get more skeins. It's not more expensive than had it been 100 gram skeins. So the Peruvian Highland wool is a fingering weight yarn, and it's 100% non-superwash yarn. And I want to talk a bit about the colors. So like I said, I'm not bringing a lot of yarn. both because buying the yarn in itself is quite a big expense. So I didn't really have economy to buy a giant load of yarn. And also it takes time, and I knew I wouldn't have time to dye it either, because I got it at the end of July and we had Fiber Folk. So I'm just bringing the things that I have. So none of these colors of these yarns have colorway names, and they take me so long for me to find colorway names for the yarns. So I don't know if I'm just gonna end up not giving them colorway names, because I don't think I will have time to figure out what to name them. But this is most of the Highland wool that I'm bringing. I mean, I still have some that I haven't shown you, but this is a selection of it. When I was dyeing it, I was in a dilemma of how many colorways do I make? I'm gonna show you the Superwash Merino nylon yarn while I talk. So since I did not have that much yarn, I had to decide between, do I dye up less colorways and then have more yarn of that colorway, so that more people, if they wanted to, could, for example, get a sweater quantity, or do I dye less of the different colorways, but then have a bigger selection of colorways to choose from? Like, what is the like business-wise, what is the best thing to do? And I didn't really know that, but I ended up going with dyeing less skeins of the same colorway and then having more colorways to show, also because it just looks more fun in the booth if you have different colors to look at. So a lot of these skeins I only have 3 of, which is gonna be a problem, I know, because for some people and for a lot of patterns, really 3 skeins isn't really enough, because a lot of patterns right now are quite oversized. But yeah, that is just what I decided doing. And yeah, I don't know if I regret it, because I've had a lot of fun doing it. And also, had I dyed up maybe 9 skeins of the same color, and that color was, you know, nobody wanted to buy that color, then I would end up with a lot of yarn. But on the other hand, I may also end up with a lot of yarn if people come for a sweater quantity and I don't have that, and they are gonna go buy that sweater quantity at another booth. So I don't know, but that's what I ended up doing. And I have not written any of the colorway names down here, so I can't even like do another, I can't dye them again, basically. But I just wanted to have fun with it. I didn't want to write down the colorways. I didn't feel like it. I just wanted to have fun, and I have had a lot of fun dyeing these up. It's been just yeah, nice to just grab the colors that I wanted and just dye away. I will say I also kind of started out dyeing a lot of pink, and then I saw how much pink I had, and I was like, okay, you need to go in other directions now. So I have tried to dye a little bit of everything. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the lace yarn that I have, which is you can use instead of a silk mohair in the projects, and this is a 100% Surrey alpaca. And I have these ones. I have this one. And I really enjoyed dyeing on this one, on these skeins. And these ones I have, most of these I have 5 of. So these would be easier if people wanted to buy something for sweater. I would have more. I have more of these available. Of course, I also have some of these. Not all of the yarn that I only have 3 skeins in a certain colorway. I do have more in some of them, but I also have some where I only have the 3 skeins. Yeah. And then I have this one. And then lastly, I'm gonna show you some of the 100%, no, 50% silk, 50% merino are coming up right now. And I love this yarn. I've had this yarn for many, I think since I started dyeing yarn. I just really love it. It's just a beautiful, has such a nice drape. It works so well for yarn, or for most, like all season, I would say. It's not as warm as obviously if you are knitting with the Peruvian Highland wool, but it's still warm enough, and you can wear it. You could use it for summer knits or for spring, autumn, and it's just very comfortable and lovely to wear on the body, I find. So, I mean, I haven't had a sweater in this in a while because, surprise, surprise, Jakob felt it. I had a piece of silver sweater that I wore a lot. No, not piece of silver. I don't know, an old Andrea Mowry pattern that I knit in this yarn and I really loved and wore a lot until Jakob felt it. So this is some of the silk merino. I also have some yarns that are still drying. I have this colorway here, which I really love. I think it's so fun. Also a bit Christmassy, but still could also be summery, depending on the season, I guess. This is on the Highland wool. And see, I have plenty of this. So like I said, it's not all the yarn, but I only have 3 skeins of. I wanted to find it on the silk as well. Merino silk, here it is. Same colorway on the merino silk. I think it's so fun. And then I went all in on green here with the Surrey alpaca. I think this is could just be the most, like, a very fun sweater knit up in this one. I have 5 of these skeins. Then I also have some greens not dying. I hope not, drying outside, and I have some in the pants as well. So I do have a bit more than this. Yeah, so I hope maybe I'll see some of you guys at Fanø. I am gonna be in my booth, but I'm also probably gonna be at the cafe, and I don't know. My booth is gonna be right at the entrance, so if I do have to leave, whoever's in the entrance, which is probably going to be my dad, can help out, or you can pay and show him that you paid. I don't know how we're going to do it, but that's the plan. Yeah, I am going to go now because I still have so many things to do. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.